This is Skyward 12 reporting for review. Call sign, yes I read that. What is going on everybody? This is Yes I Read That, and today I am reviewing Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. Sanderson did it again. So Skyward is a science fiction book. It is definitely young adult, but somehow that really just fit the book. It is the first book in a series. It's probably going to be a trilogy or 4 books by Brandon Sanderson, and if you know Brandon Sanderson, then, well, his books are usually just great. So for this review, I'm going to talk about the story and then tell you my likes and dislikes for the book and tell you my score. And afterwards I want to talk about spoilers because there are some things in this book that are just, whew, yeah, that I want to talk about here. Alright, so let's start with the story. First of all, this story really sucks you in at once. So the general setting is that humanity was completely decimated and the survivors are living on a planet called Detritus, surrounded by a rubble belt for 70 years now. Spensa is a young girl who is part of that civilization, and she lives down in the planet Detritus in a cave where humanity is basically hiding from an alien race called the skrell. Now, humanity only has a couple of spaceships left, and with them they try to defend the regular attacks that the skrell do. And humanity has been under attack for decades now. So obviously the heroes that humanity has are the pilots, the brave fighters who fly against the skrell. So naturally, Spensa has been dreaming of the sky, has been dreaming of becoming a pilot to soar up in the sky and to fight those bad skrell. However, Spensa lives in the shadow of her father, who was once a pilot too, but he is branded as a coward because he betrayed humanity in the most important battle that was ever fought, the battle for Alta base. And the pilots who took part in that battle are called the first pilots, and they're basically the heroes of that generation. And her father is the coward, the traitor who left the battle, and he is shunned by everybody, and so is his family, and so is Spensa. So naturally the superiors, the admirals, try to prevent her from becoming a pilot with all means possible. At the same time, the children of the first pilots are getting into the flight school free and without any tests. So it's really a struggle for Spensa. She is really trying to fulfill her dream, but she has some stones in her way every single step. So eventually Spensa still manages to get into flight school, and that is where the real story starts. The main story in this book is about the flight school, about the other students she meets there, about her learning to fly those starships and to navigate, to fight against the skrell. But everything changes when she finds an ancient spaceship in a cave that is nothing like all the DDF ships she's seen before, and she knows all of them. So yeah, that's as far as I'll go with the story. I don't want to spoil anything for you. If that sounds interesting to you, well, it is very interesting. It's a lot more complex than I explained. Brandon Sanderson is amazing at creating these complex scenarios and these complex universes, and this is just really, really awesome. Which leads me to my likes. And the first thing is that the story starts off amazingly. I felt myself really sucked in. I really couldn't lay the book down. And Brandon Sanderson published some early chapters, and I read those. I think there were like 14 or 15 early chapters. And when I got the book, I finished it in a day. So yes, I enjoyed it. It's very gripping. You really want to know what's going on. You feel with Spensa. It's very suspenseful. The next thing that I liked were the characters. They were so good. It was just so amazing because it starts off as this young adult trope most of the time, that she goes to school and she finds a rival and it's the bad guy, the rich one, the spoiled person. But then Brandon Sanderson turns those tropes on the head, and suddenly you see that the characters are a lot deeper than that, and I can genuinely say that I liked every character in the flight school. I loved how wholesome the whole flight school felt. It was just really awesome to see them all in a group. The whole Skyward flight, I really enjoyed that. But of course, that also kind of hurt sometimes because as I told you in the story, humanity is in a war, and they've been there for decades, and well, you can guess what happens in a war to a group of young pilots, to a group of young cadets. But somehow I really enjoyed that part too, because it's just part of the story and making everything feel more heavy, more real, you know, and making you feel with the characters a lot more. So as the story goes on, you can find hints and hints to something bigger going on, and the suspense just rises and rises, and you really just want to find out what is going on here. The next thing I really enjoyed, the ship she finds, without spoiling a lot, is really awesome. I really like how the book highlights that things aren't as black and white as they sometimes seem. You know, the rich spoiled kid isn't actually more free than Spensas with her poor upbringing, but it actually seems like Spensas has more freedom in some way, and the book is really good at highlighting like at creating these black and white situations of one person having a certain trait, obviously because he is that way, and then throwing you a completely different perspective and suddenly showing you that you can't just simply make these two-dimensional characters or have these two-dimensional situations. It's really been very good at that. The setting itself obviously is very good. I really enjoyed the dogfighting scenes in the starships. I really enjoyed just the general planet, you know, the wonder of what is going on outside there and how it all works. Why is the society the way it is? And yeah, it's just a really, really interesting setting. Generally, Brandon Sanderson creates really interesting fighting systems, and he did so again in this book. The fighting system is just great. I really enjoyed those scenes. And the last thing is, I feel like the main character, Spensa, is a really good main character. At first, I didn't really feel that attached to her, but as the book went on, it felt better and better, and I could really feel myself, you know, going with her when she was struggling, when she was doing great, and it felt great, honestly. It's young adult, but it still feels great. Spensa seemed so edgy at first, but then you really, really start to like her. Which leads me into my dislikes, and that is, the book is so edgy at first, like totally edgy. It really tries to do young adult a bit too hard, in my opinion, or I'm just an old man already. But yeah, the good thing is this gets a lot better towards the end of the book, which makes me really think that the next book in the series is going to be amazing. Because, I'll be real, sometimes this book was kind of cringy. And there was one other thing I didn't really like, which is the book kind of feels like a prologue. And I had the same critique, I remembered, I had the same critique for The Way of Kings in the Stormlight series, another series by Brandon Sanderson. So he seems to do this. He has this amazing world, and for a good story, you have everything planned out at once, like you have everything planned out in the beginning, so everything makes logical sense. But because this is just the first book in the series, you only get like glimpses of how awesome it will be later. You get kind of teased with everything, but in the end, of course, you get a great scene, but you know, you just want more. And yeah, that's the other thing I kind of disliked, that there were so many things that he teased at and you didn't really get to see them. So yeah, well. My overall score for the book is an 8 out of 10. I really, really enjoyed it. If you like young adult books, or if you don't mind them, I should rather say, then I highly recommend reading this book. If you can laugh about the young adult parts, it's actually not that bad. It's a fantastic book, and I think the young adult setting, Brandon Sanderson really, really managed to pull that off very awesome. I highly enjoyed the characters. They were not black and white at all. It wasn't that bad of a young adult book, I guess. It's still like the general trope of a young girl with her dream, and you know, but I'm totally fine with that. And the only things I didn't really enjoy was, you know, the cringe, trying to be a little too edgy, and that so many things were teased at but didn't really come into play. However, as the book is the first book in a series, that's kind of natural. So yeah, I really, really enjoyed this book, and I highly recommend it to you. If you don't have a problem with young adult, then go for it. Alright, so that concludes my general review. I'm gonna go into spoiler bit, so shut off the video now if you don't want to get spoiled. And I'm gonna talk about a few things. There isn't that much, but yeah, a few things that I found really cool. And First thing is, in the end, when she is flying with the new ship for the first time with Mbot, Skyward 11 reporting for battle, call sign spin. Flying with Mach 20, goosebumps all over my body. Let's go! That's just Mbot, you know, massacre bot. I love the edgy names she gave the ship. Is awesome. It's just, yeah. I really like the ship interactions, you know, the concept of AI that Sanderson had, that AI can't, you know, override the commands it had, and then in the end, when she needed it the most, suddenly it said it like overrode his own commands when it wasn't looking, and now it has a new pilot and she can finally fly it. Wow. Also something really cool, I think Cobb is a super awesome character, super interesting and also pretty deep. I love it when you can tell that characters have, you know, there's more behind them, that there's something they don't tell you, or you can just feel it, they're deep. And Cobb really is like that. One thing I want to highlight is, in the end he said about the defect that Spensa has, he said, we can control it, which makes me think that he has it too, so that's going to be interesting in the next books. Generally, about the defect, I was so surprised, confused at what it was. It was hinted at very early already with the measuring of her head in the helmet, and I wasn't sure what was going on, but it's somehow all connected to these eyes she's seeing. The first time Spensa saw the eyes open up all around her, I don't know why. I think it was because I was so into the book, but it felt so creepy at that time. I think the description was just amazing. I really want to know what these eyes are about. We barely get a hint. I remember that at one point in the book, Mbot actually said he has some like records that electronic circuits need to be protected or the eyes will get access to them. So I think they can somehow take over your communication. And obviously somehow the skrell can control what you think or see. Like they could produce a vision, and yeah, just wow. So it seems like the rubble belt actually protects them from this alien intelligence. But yeah. And the last thing I want to say is, what the hell is going on with Doomslug, okay? So this little slug that can obviously teleport, and then you have a ship with some room for a component for this overdrive that makes the ship teleport, and it says a biological component goes there, and we have this, you know, this slug that can obviously teleport, and we have this space there for something biological that goes in there to make the ship teleport. What could happen? I don't know why did she completely ignore that the fucking slug could teleport? What? Anyways, yeah, I'm curious what's gonna happen with that. So yeah, I think I touched upon everything. So this concludes my review. If you read the book, let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. And if you liked the video, make sure to drop a like, and I'll see you in the next video. Till then, bye!